She arrived before sunrise, as she always did, unlocking the small corner cafe while the street still yawned awake with dim lamps and whispering breezes. Her name was Ella Hart, a young barista whose kindness filled the room long before the first espresso shot hissed through the machine. She loved the quiet hour before customers came in, loved how the cafe felt like a sanctuary, warm with soft music and drifting aromas, a place where tired strangers found a sliver of peace. Yet despite her gentle smile, Ella carried worries no one saw: her mother's medical bills, her own loneliness, and the ache of wondering if small acts of kindness mattered anymore. On one especially heavy morning, she felt nudged by something unseen, something that stirred her spirit the way a faint melody stirs someone to tears. So she took a marker, reached for the empty tip jar, and instead of writing "thank you" as usual, she scribbled the words, "Leave a worry, take a prayer," adding a small heart beside it. She felt silly at first, imagining her coworkers teasing her or customers thinking it was childish. Yet she kept the jar on the counter anyway, whispering, "Lord, if someone needs this, let it find them." When the morning rush began, most people dropped coins or nothing at all, barely noticing the sign. A few smiled politely. One young woman paused long enough to slip in a folded paper before hurrying out the door. Ella felt warmth inside her chest, as if God breathed gently on an ember. But it wasn't until mid-morning that everything changed, when a man known to everyone as the gruff regular stomped through the door. His name was Frank, though few used it. He was the type who barked orders, scowled at the world, and kept conversations short and sharp. Yet Ella always greeted him with patience, offering more compassion than he ever returned. On this day, he approached the counter slower than usual, staring at the tip jar with unusual focus. He ordered his black coffee, placed a few bills down, hesitated, and then pulled out a small, crumpled envelope from his jacket. Without looking up, he slid it into the jar. Ella didn't reach for it immediately, sensing it was not meant for her eyes alone. Minutes later, curiosity pulled at the soul of the cafe as regulars eyed the jar, drawn to the quiet mystery of what someone might leave inside. The first to reach in was a college student named Mia, her hands trembling from anxiety over a difficult exam. She unfolded Frank's note and gasped. The message read, "Pray for my daughter. Haven't spoken in 8 years. I don't know how to fix it." The cafe fell into a hush, the kind that gently sweeps across a room when people sense a sacred moment. Mia's eyes softened as she whispered, "I'll pray," placing her own note beside his. "Pray for courage to forgive my roommate." Behind her, a businessman who often worked angrily on his laptop slowed down, took the paper, read both notes, and quietly wrote, "Pray for my wife and me. We forgot how to talk to each other without hurting." Customers gathered near the counter, not to order, but to share silent reverence as the jar filled with fragile pieces of the human heart. Ella stood still, tears forming at the corners of her eyes as she watched strangers take turns, leaving burdens behind and lifting others unknowingly. What moved her most was the shift in the room. The air felt warmer, as if compassion had wrapped itself like a blanket around every table. People who never spoke to each other began exchanging gentle nods, comforting smiles, and even small conversations about hope, healing, and the surprising courage it took to write down a worry. The cafe, once noisy with rushing footsteps and impatient sighs, felt like holy ground, but the true miracle began when Frank returned later that afternoon. He stepped inside hesitantly, not with his usual grumbling presence, but with the uncertainty of a man who suddenly sees himself reflected through others' compassion. Ella greeted him with her usual warmth, yet this time he didn't order. Instead, he approached the jar tentatively, almost fearfully. The businessman, who had returned after lunch hoping to read more, was sitting nearby and noticed Frank staring at the papers. Something stirred him from his seat, drawing him toward the man he typically avoided. "Sir," he said gently, Your note. It made me call my wife. We talked for the first time without yelling. Frank blinked as if struck by unexpected kindness. A woman waiting for her drink chimed in. Your courage helped me write to my sister. We haven't spoken in years either. One by one, people who had read his note stepped closer, thanking him for sparking something inside them. Frank, who had spent years building walls so thick he forgot who he used to be, felt them crumble under the weight of strangers' gratitude. Ella watched the scene unfold with awe. She felt God moving quietly, tenderly, weaving hearts together as if stitching a tapestry of reconciliation across the cafe floor. Frank suddenly turned to Ella and whispered, Do you think God still hears a stubborn old man like me? She nodded, placing her hand over her heart. He never stops listening. Not to anyone. Frank trembled slightly, the years of bitterness melting into sorrow and longing. I want to call her, he said. I want to try. Ella dialed the number he dictated softly, handing him the phone with a hopeful smile. Frank stepped to the corner, voice shaking as he spoke a hesitant hello. The cafe held its breath. Then his shoulders relaxed, his lips quivered, and tears streamed down his hardened face as he whispered, Hi, sweetheart. Yes, it's Dad. I miss you too. The entire room felt the sacred weight of that moment, a reconciliation blooming like a sunrise. While Frank spoke, Ella knelt behind the counter, overwhelmed with gratitude. She whispered a quiet prayer for every note in the jar, every person who dared to reveal their hidden wounds. When Frank finally returned the phone, he stared at Ella with a softness she had never seen in him. Thank you, he said. You helped me do something I've run away from for years. As he left, several customers touched his shoulder gently, wishing him healing and courage. The cafe remained silent until the door closed, and then the room released a collective sigh born of shared tenderness. In the days that followed, the tip jar became a lamp drawing weary souls toward warmth. Couples wrote prayers for marriages on the brink of breaking. Teenagers left worries about identity, purpose, loneliness. Elderly neighbors wrote names of estranged children, hoping for one more conversation. Travelers passing through the town added notes about grief, too heavy to carry alone. And every time Ella opened the cafe, she prayed over each slip of paper, asking God to wrap every broken heart in love. The cafe transformed from a simple coffee shop into a vessel of quiet miracles. People not only drank coffee there, they found courage, connection, and communion. One evening near closing time, Ella found a note tucked deep at the bottom of the jar. She hadn't seen it before. It read, Pray for Ella. She carries more than she tells anyone. She pressed the paper to her chest, tears falling freely as she realized someone had seen her unseen burdens. But beneath the sentence was another line, and tell her she's changing lives. She didn't know whose handwriting it was, yet she felt God speak through it, reminding her that even small acts of faith can ripple across countless lives. The cafe lights dimmed. The door locked, and Ella sat alone in the stillness, holding the note, letting the day settle around her. She whispered into the quiet room, Lord, thank you for turning worries into bridges between strangers. Outside, the streetlight flickered like a gentle nod from heaven. This story began with a barista, searching for hope, and a gruff man too wounded to speak to his daughter. It ends with a community discovering that one prayer can heal many hearts, and one heart can heal many lives. Welcome, dear friend. This is Faith Light Stories, where every story reminds us that God never leaves us. Please like, share, and subscribe. And now, as we close this story, I invite you to carry its message with you. If this touched your heart, if you have ever left a worry unspoken or longed for reconciliation, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might be the prayer someone else needs today. Like, share, and subscribe to Faith Light Stories so that together we can continue spreading hope, healing, and the quiet miracles of God's love.